Hey, good morning and welcome to my kitchen, Carola's kitchen. Hey, I've been making pie doughs and I thought it was time that I shared with you how I make them. I think it's easy. It's something I didn't learn until probably my 30s or 40s. I didn't know how to make pie dough. It looked too hard. And I thought, here I am, I'm making them. When I make pie dough, I make a bunch. Put them in the fridge, and then because I like to make pies for the gal that cuts my hair, the gal that does my nails, you know, the neighbors. That's kind of my Thanksgiving or Christmas gift. So I thought, well, heck, I might as well just show you. So let's get busy. Alright, so here we've got, I always make it in twos. So I'm making, it's a 10-inch 2-crust pie dough recipe. And I admit, this recipe is old. And this is out of the Betty Crocker Cookbook. And as always, I will have the recipe below. One thing, I've changed a few things. I use the amount of flour it calls for, and then it calls for a teaspoon of salt. And I put in 2 tablespoons of sugar. I actually got that from another recipe, and now I do it all the time. It's just something I do. I always add 2 tablespoons of sugar. So if you're on a no sugar kick or whatever, you don't have to put it in. Alright. So, and then I just mix that in. And then it takes 1 cup, for this recipe, 1 cup of good old Crisco. And I also have a recipe that is a part Crisco and part butter. And I do that sometimes also, and I use my food processor to blend it and stuff. But if you are just, you know, you don't want to drag that thing out, which is kind of how I am today. It's like, I can just do this real quick. And I'll have myself, I'm going to make 2 batches. I'll have myself 4 pie crusts, because I've been making apple pies. It's apple season, so I've been making them. Okay, so there's my cup of Crisco. And I just use, now I always have to tell this because some people don't even know, this is a pastry blender. And you can get it Bed Bath & Beyond, Amazon, you know, Amazon's my friend. But I've had this one a long time. And you just start in working that Crisco into your flour. I was going to time this, see how long it actually takes me to do this. It's not very long. Okay, about got it done. You want to make sure that Crisco is blended into all the flour. All right. Looks good. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you one of my, oh, let me show you this. It's about how it is. My secret ingredient, yes, vodka. This I also learned from another recipe, and I was going to look it up to tell you there's a chemical reason why vodka, something at the alcohol, and it makes it have a very crispy crust. Then it calls for a quarter cup of, well, actually calls for 7 to 8 tablespoons. I just use this little tiny thing. I love this thing. I think it's a Pampered Chef thing. I've had it forever. And I use ice water. I also keep my vodka in the freezer. And then I make myself some ice water to go into that also. It's got to be cold butter. I mean, cold water. Sorry. You don't want to over stir it. You just kind of want it to come together. Got to use my hands. They can read it better with the hands. It still seems a little dry. I'm going to add a tiny bit more water. I've got it. I'm going to make this, I kind of make it into like a loaf and then kind of cut it down the middle for 2. Alright, there you go. I think I got too much water. It's a little sticky, but that'll be okay. When you roll it out with the flour, it'll be fine. Okay. And I flatten them into discs, like so. There's one. There's 2. And let's see, I have it set up at my other counter. Let me see if I can. Okay, I needed to move over to my other counter so I have more room. I have a really small kitchen because this kitchen this home was built in the 40s. So this, I wrap it up. And there you go. 2 pie doughs ready to go in the kitchen. Jeez. Can you tell I had a late night last night? Can't hardly tell. These go in the refrigerator, and they need to be in for at least 45 minutes to get cold, or I leave mine in for a couple days and use them when I need them. I was just going to show you the stack of pie doughs in my fridge. So there you go. There's my pie doughs. So if you have any questions, feel free to post them there on my YouTube channel. And don't forget to like and subscribe, please. I'd appreciate it. Okay, thanks. Have a great day. Love ya. Bye. Hey, welcome back to my kitchen. I'm finishing up the video on making pie crust, and my pie crust has been in the refrigerator for a couple days. I've used them all up. This is my last one, so I'm going to show you how I lay out my pie crust and crimp it into my pie plate. So here we go. Alright, now I work here on my counter. I have an extra high counter in this old kitchen of mine, 1940 kitchen, and I have one of these, oh, I don't know what you call them, those, you can make cookies and do all kinds of, but things don't stick to it. And here's my pie dough. It's out of the fridge. It's been sitting out for a little bit. So here we go, and you put a little flour on it. Now I'm gonna, I'm not advertising or anything, but my favorite flour is King Arthur flour. So I tell my friends I'm a pie flour snob. Okay, I pat it down a little bit, a little flour on my roller, and here we go. I think I've got flour underneath my pad here because it keeps wanting to move. And I just slowly roll it out, trying to push a little bit but not too hard. I don't want it to crack too much. Now, like I said before, I make my pie doughs for a 10-inch pie, but I actually have a 9-inch pie pans that I use. And the reason I do this is I don't want my pies bubbling over, especially apples are known for that. Check it here. How thick it is. It's pretty good. I always check with my dish just to make sure I have plenty around the edges. And the reason I do the 10-inch pie is that I want to have plenty of dough around the edges so that I can crimp and have a high edge to keep all the juices from flowing out. Okay, now let's see here. Then I fold it up. Now, there's different ways you can do this also, but for me this works the best. Some hang it over their rolling pin and lay it in, but I'm always afraid I'm gonna lose some. So there's my pie dough in the pan. Unfold it. Whoops. And my fingernails, just chop that off. And you can move it around a little bit if it doesn't seem even. And then I take and fold it on under. I don't know if you could see that. I take it and fold it under because I want to work on getting a nice clean edge. So I turn it, fold it under. Turn it, fold it under. You just keep working all the way around. And if there's a little extra, you can cut it off and use it on some of the places where maybe there wasn't enough to begin with. This one turned out pretty good. And the more you do this, the better you get at it. I do admit that. So I kind of go around and I try to get my sides up as much as they can go. I want to have plenty to use to crimp. It makes a real pretty pie that way. Now here's a place where it's a little thin, and you can kind of just take and push it up. There we go. And you work your way around. This one is still a little crumbly. Work on it a little bit. Alright. Now I'm going to start the crimping. And the crimping, there again, the more you do it, you kind of find what works easiest for you. You can use a fork and go around. I like to use my fingers, and I just use my these two fingers, and I kind of do it on an angle, and I just press down. Let's see if you can see that. I press like this. It stuck out. You just keep working your way around. And because they're the same two fingers, all your crimping, there's a little boo-boo there, will look the same. And that's another reason I work at getting the dough up to the top, so I kind of have the same amount to work with so it looks more uniform. Hope you're seeing that. Just keep working your way around. If it cracks a little bit, like this is kind of cracked, you can work it a little bit, pull it together, and then go around some more. Okay, I'm back to the beginning. Sometimes I go twice around just to make sure it's all uniform, but it's looking pretty good. Got a few cracks in it, but that's okay. When you bake it, it will crack more. There you go. Can you see that? All right. Then I'm going to go ahead. I'm doing my apple pie with the crumble top. That's going to be on it, and I'm going to take it over to my mom's. My niece is coming, so they'll have something to eat. So there you go, ready to go. I think it turned out pretty good. So thank you. Thanks for joining me. And as always, if you would like it, subscribe. And if you ever have any questions, please feel free to ask me. I'm more than happy to share. The apple streusel pie will be at the bottom of the recipe. And, no, wait. I already did the apple streusel pie. Sorry. Senior moment. This is just a pie dough. But the pie dough recipe will be at the bottom so that you can see what I use. And I even put my little tweaks in it. Okay? Great. Thank you. Love y'all. Bye.